Hey everybody, welcome back. We thought on this particular episode we would discuss the 5 things that we really can't live without while we're RVing. These are things that when we bought them, we had certain expectations but not really high ones, and it turned out after we got these things and we found out how useful they were or important they were to us, we can't live without these things. So these are our top 5, and we'll go from in reverse order from 5 down to 1. So number 5 are
our electric bikes by Lectric Bike.
Yeah. What can you say about those babies?
I know, I mean, they seem to be becoming more and more popular with RVers. And they really are great. You can go places that you might not be able to normally. You can get 20, you can go on a 20-mile round trip on a single charge. Not that we've gone 20 miles on it yet, but
I'll say this about it. It's a love-hate relationship for me personally,
right?
Because these are heavy bikes. I mean, they're like between 67 and 70 pounds, something like that. And we can't carry them very easily. They have to go into the back of our Class C. So they fold up, which is great, because if they didn't fold up, we wouldn't take them at all. But even folded up, it's very, very difficult to get them through the opening to get them into the rig. And it is a epic 15-rounder every time I pull these things out. I get upset. I'm usually hot because
sweaty.
It's hot where we camp a lot of the time. That is the downside. But the plus is that when you're an old geezer like me, going uphill, and some of these campgrounds are really hilly, can be problematic. And with an e-bike, it's not an issue at all. You just turn the handle and you're gone.
Well, but the other advantage too with the e-bike is you can pedal.
Yeah.
You can decide how much assistance you want, even if you want assistance.
Right.
So if you want some exercise, then you just don't turn on the assistance.
The assist, right.
So
Number 4.
Puck
lights. I don't care. I don't know a thing about them. This is her territory.
He actually was the one to buy them for me.
Yeah, I did.
They are these little small puck lights. They're motion detected, and as you probably know, have experienced yourself, seeing inside like your pantry or under the cabinet. Space underneath there
and things like that.
Right. It's hard, there's no lighting underneath
it's
there.
Dark.
So these little lights, I open up the doors, especially like underneath the bathroom sink.
Yeah.
You open up the door and boom, the lights come on. The light comes on underneath there. So you're able to see and fiddle around, especially, again, like in the pantry as well. As I'm trying to find different things.
And even in some of the compartments on the outside, if it's getting dark or whatever and you're looking for something, if you have that stuck to the side of the side wall of the compartment, it just pops on when you open the door. So it's great. So it's a cheap solution to a big problem, and everybody wins when you get these things. So, and you can buy them in quantity, and it's just not that much money. So good deal on the pucks. Number 3, induction burner. Again, not my territory. Take it away.
Okay. So in our Class C, I don't have a whole lot of counter space.
No,
there are some travel trailers or even Class A's or whatever that have a nice, decent size kitchen counter.
Yeah.
But that's not the case with ours. I love our RV, but the kitchen is small. So you have to really be careful about using space wisely. So this induction burner, so we have a 3-burner stove, but if I'm cooking something like pasta pot, as well as sauce or whatever, there's not a whole lot of room on that gas stove, not to mention the fact I'm using the propane.
Right.
So this induction burner, we had here at home, so I thought, hey, this is perfect for the RV. So I take it on the RV, I cook my pasta on the induction burner, and then I'm saving the propane, and I've got room on the stove to do whatever other cooking I'm doing.
Right. Everybody wins. The only negative, if there is a negative, is that it does suck up a lot of electrical power.
Oh.
So if you're kind of on the edge of, oh, well, I can't run the toaster and the induction burner and the microwave at the same time because I'm going to pop a breaker, yeah, you will. And we've done it
Several times.
almost every time we've used the induction burner because of one thing or another. You know, we thought we had enough power, whatever. It's just something to be aware of when you turn it on.
Right.
But it solves a bigger problem than it creates. So we'll say it that way. Okay, so number 2 on our list, and this is a situation where 2 could have been 1 and 1 could have been 2. We love both of these things so much, but somebody has to be second. So number 2 is our Kalamera electric freezer, portable freezer. I don't know what you call it. It's a 52 quart cooler that you plug in, and it's a freezer, basically, and it's super fast. When you plug this thing in, let's say that you plug it in and the internal temperature is 70 degrees. In about 45 minutes,
right,
it's down to like 3 degrees. And this is important to us because we live in a nice home that has a driveway that has probably about a 4 to 5% grade. So we're kind of sitting like this. If you know anything about refrigerators in RVs, if you're off level, it just isn't going to work. And so we found out really quickly that we had a problem because when you start off on a trip, you want to put all of your refrigerated goods and frozen goods in your refrigerator, turn it on, and let it get down to temperature. And we just couldn't do that. It just wouldn't work. And we couldn't move the rig anywhere. So we needed a solution, and the solution was this Kalamera freezer. So what we do is we just fill that freezer up with our frozen goods, and there's a little compartment for some of our refrigerated goods, and we bring that with us on the initial trip to wherever we're going, and then when we get level and set up, we turn on the refrigerator, let it get down to temperature.
That takes a
long
while.
time. That takes like hours before that
right.
happens. And then we just transfer everything into the refrigerator and the freezer. But we also keep the portable one plugged in because we just use it as extra storage for, stuff that we buy or whatever. You know how it goes with a freezer in a RV refrigerator is not real big. So we just use it for extra stuff. So it's been great for us.
Right.
So that's number 2.
And then I use it because I'm short.
Step stool.
Yes, I use
to
it
get
as
up into the bunk above the driver's compartment.
Right. So.
And number 1 is our Clam.
That's right. So our Clam is a screened-in enclosure that is large enough. It's 12 feet, so it's large enough for us to have our 2 lounge chairs in there and a table in there, and we still have extra room in there, and we can just sit out there all night, not having to worry about bugs.
And the beauty of this thing is that you can set it up in like a minute.
Yes.
Literally. I mean, they have races on YouTube to see who can set this thing up the quickest, right? I think 45 seconds, something like that, is the fastest that I've seen. And you can tear it down just as quickly. So it's the kind of thing where, if you had like a conventional screened-in porch where you're driving stakes in the ground or whatever, and it looks like it's going to rain on Tuesday, you don't want to take that thing down. So just get soaked and whatever. With this thing, you can just take it down, put it away for, the evening, let it rain, and then the next day pop it right back up again and you're ready to go. Right. So this thing has been really great for us. It's probably the number 1 thing. It is the number 1 thing that we've enjoyed, that we didn't have a whole lot of expectations for, but it became like, oh man, we're so glad that we have the Clam. Right. So there you go. Those are our top 5. We're going to throw 2 in as honorable mention because they kind of wanted to make the list, but they didn't quite get to the 5 spot, but we'll mention them anyway. The first one I'll mention because it's kind of in my department. It's an air compressor. If you know anything about tires on an RV, it's critical that you keep those things inflated to spec. So each time we're getting ready to leave a campground to move to another campground, especially if we're going a long distance, I go around, I make sure all of the tires are inflated to spec.
Because different air temperatures will change that.
That's right.
Those tire pressures. Right. So it's important to do it.
Exactly. So rather than fight to find a gas station that has even those air pumps, I don't even think they go up to the 80 psi or in some cases 100 psi for some of the Class A rigs that you need. So you have to have a good air compressor.
Mm-hmm.
And the second item is?
The second item is our solo stove.
Yeah.
So as you know that, I think probably at least 95% of the campgrounds all have a fire pit. And the problem with the fire pit is the smoke. So the smoke is either blowing into your face, or you're closing it. You're going in and you're smelling like a campfire.
You're smoking out your neighbor.
Oh,
we were at,
yes.
I think it was at Anchor Down in Danforth, Tennessee. And those sites are pretty close on the inside,
yes.
and you're backed up to your neighbor. So we were tight on the left and right, and we were tight in the rear. And there was a couple there, bless their heart. Really nice people.
Very nice couple.
But they had a fire ring, like we all did back then, and the prevailing wind was blowing right at us, right into our patio area. And we had friends over that night, and it was like we're in the middle of this forest fire.
It was bad.
It was terrible. They needed a solo stove. They didn't have one.
So, talk a little bit about what the solo stove does.
So the solo stove is this aluminum cylindrical thing, and there are holes in the bottom portion of the cylinder, so that air is pulled in from the bottom up, and it keeps the fire at a hot enough temperature that there's no smoke. It just burns the smoke off. So you don't have to worry about getting your clothes filled with smoke or polluting the air or choking out your neighbor. It's just a wonderful thing. Now, I'm not going to lie, it's
not 100%.
It's probably 96% anyway.
Yes.
The only downside to the solo stove is they're expensive. You would think, how much can a cylindrical piece of aluminum cost? Apparently, a lot. It really is a lot, and they sell all their accessories at some exorbitant price. But if you can just choke down the fact that it costs so much, and realize you're going to use this over the long haul, you're going to have it for years and years, it's probably worth it over the length of that amount of time,
right.
Not to deal with the smoke that everybody else has to deal with. So that was an honorable mention. So thanks for joining us. This was a lot of fun. Again, hopefully this helps you out and at least get you thinking about things that are going to be important to you. You can look into some of these. I'll link some of these I'll link all of them at the bottom, so you can check them out on Amazon. And we'll see you on the next episode.
See you later.